country in Central America has become the kingdom of two very different lizards. The basilisk carves out a carnivorous existence, while iguanas choose a slower pace of life. In such a competitive realm, both species are capable of performing strange and seemingly impossible feats in order to survive. With very different tastes in food, the two species rarely come into contact. But when the newborn reptiles take their first steps into their forest domain, battle commences. In the war of contrasting lizards, survival is no guarantee. In Central America, there is a land of endless rainforests. Costa Rica. Over a third of this foliage-rich country has become a nature reserve. As a result, natural habitats thrive and create a home for around 5% of Earth's species. Birds of extraordinary vibrancy flourish in the lush forest canopy. Incredible colors are somewhat of a trend of Costa Rica's wildlife. The platinum-jeweled scarab beetle is perhaps the most radiant of the forest inhabitants. It is believed its immensely shiny body reflects its surroundings, camouflaging the beetle against the dense foliage. Larger creatures also reside in the bountiful trees. Sloths can be found high in the forest canopy. With plenty of food on offer, the distinctive mammal can enjoy a slower pace of life. Below the trees, there are yet more wild wonders to discover. Lizards are abundant in Costa Rica. At only around 5 centimeters in size, slender brown anoles survive amongst the forest vegetation. Males use an extendable flap of skin below their jaw, called a dewlap, to communicate with potential mates. The elaborate display seems to have the desired effect. Further down, there are even stranger creatures. This snake-like body, in fact, belongs to another species of lizard. The streamline reptile can move rapidly along the forest floor. Of all of Costa Rica's many species of lizard, there is one that is famed for its intimidating appearance and fierce nature. The green basilisk. The distinctive lizard's fearsome features gave birth to their namesake. Basilisk originates from a terrifying monster of Greek mythology. Become a sanctuary for more than 70 species of lizard. Among the distinctive creatures, there is one that dwarfs all others. At 2 meters in size, the green iguana is the largest lizard in Central and South America. The huge reptiles live in large groups. Like the basilisks, they strike a fearsome appearance. Hardened scales act like a protective suit of armor. To complement their formidable looks, green iguanas are also equipped with sharp claws. Genders are easily identified. Males have swollen cheeks, clad within large scales. Females, on the other hand, strike a more understated appearance. They may be known as green iguanas, but they in fact come in many different colors. Some of the lizards lack fully grown tails. Their distinctive stumps are evidence of the iguana's ability to shed their tails when attacked. Fortunately, they do grow back, given time. Despite their bulky frames, the lizards are at home navigating the forest's many trees. Their fearsome-looking claws are in fact specialized for climbing. They may look predatory, but these lizards show little interest in passing insects. Wandering invertebrates are simply an irritant rather than a tasty treat. The large lizard has a much different taste in food. These fearsome-looking creatures are strictly vegetarian. Leaves are their staple food source. Herbivores may be a rarity in the lizard world, but green iguanas have a ravenous appetite and will consume as much plant life as possible. Juicy fruits are a particular delicacy. Flowers are also on the menu, and the lizards will go to extreme lengths to get to the flowery feasts. Known to consume around 30 different kinds of plants, green iguanas have little chance of going hungry. It is believed that they evolved to become herbivores, so not to clash over food with carnivorous lizards, like the aggressive basilisk. Over millions of years, green iguanas have become perfectly adapted to life in Costa Rica. They start their day off in a lethargic state. The lizards are awake, but movement is minimal. As ectotherms, they rely on the sun to warm their body temperature. Thermal imaging shows the waking iguana is only 25 degrees Celsius. As the sun rises, the lizard begins to warm. By 8 a.m., the iguana finally hits its perfect body temperature of 36 degrees Celsius. As they have relatively large bodies, they take a long time to warm up. After a morning bask, the iguanas can eventually head out in search of food. With food readily available, the longest an iguana will travel from its home is a mere 100 meters. There's no chance of the plants running away, so the large lizards can afford to cruise at a steady 3 kilometers per hour. Once the best location is found, their morning feast can begin. But after just 15 minutes, the dining iguana is forced to cut its meal short. Loaded with food, the lizard must head back to bask. Their need to rest is a consequence of their vegetarian lifestyle. Plants contain cellulose, which are particularly tough to break down. Iguanas do have plenty of microorganisms in their intestine to aid digestion. However, these organisms need to be close to 40 degrees to function properly. To achieve this, iguanas must keep still for 96% of the day. It is an effective method, but being static for such long periods can leave an iguana dangerously exposed. A post-breakfast sunbathe can become a matter of life or death. Unbeknown to the resting iguana, a huge boa constrictor is making its way up the lizard's tree. Just as it gets within striking distance, the usually docile iguana dodges the formidable snake. But it is not enough to deter the persistent predator. With nowhere else to run, the iguana has only one option: a leap of faith. The large lizard makes a surprisingly good swimmer. While basking, the cunning reptiles usually pick branches that hang above water. Diving into the unknown is the iguana's last-ditch survival tactic. The carnivorous basilisk is also not afraid to enter the water and has no problem navigating its way through the aquatic world. However, they are not alone in the river. This is also the domain of the spectacled caiman. Reaching up to 3 meters in length, it dwarfs the basilisk. Stealthily, the caiman stalks the floating lizard. once within range, there is no escape. A basilisk stands little chance of outswimming a caiman. But it does have a secret weapon. These lizards can literally run on water. This extreme form of propulsion is much faster than swimming. To achieve this seemingly impossible feat, basilisks pull off some astonishing footwork. The speedy lizards make 20 steps per second to stay afloat. All their momentum stems from their powerful rear legs. Web-like folds between the basilisk's claws open when in water, creating a larger surface area. The first phase of this incredible stride is a powerful slap. Force generated by the impact produces a mass of air around the lizard's submerged legs. This perfect technique creates less water resistance and allows the basilisk to lift its legs out of the water at astonishing speeds. They can keep up the lightning-quick pace for around 20 meters, giving them more than enough distance to escape a pursuing predator. As November awakens, Costa Rica is entering the hottest and driest season of the year. As ever, iguanas bask in the morning sun. However, this male's coloration has dramatically changed. He has turned orange. The change in color is called nuptial coloration and happens during the mating season. At this time, males partake in a peculiar head-shaking ritual. The unusual display is an iguana's way of communicating its presence to its rivals. A shaking head is a clear warning to any potential trespassers. Even with all the frantic displaying, males still come face to face. Fights erupt all around the canopy. Those with the best treetop position must be willing to fight to keep hold of their prized real estate. In the land of the iguana, encroaching onto another's patch is an act of war. The incumbent treetop male must decide whether he wants to risk all and take on the approaching intruder. However, the defending iguana has not mastered treetop warfare. Crashing to the ground, the clumsy male hasn't just had a hefty fall, he's also lost his prized territory. Only the strongest will be able to secure mating rights. During this season, males will spend most of the day battling for dominance. As the iguanas reach the middle of their breeding season, the fighting begins to calm down. Those that have fought well have been able to secure a harem of females. For the successful fighters, the real work starts now. Males with harems must get back to their head-shaking ways. Although this time, the iguana does not want to scare anyone off. He is trying to impress his females. But the wooing tactic is having little effect. Undeterred, the male carries on. No matter how hard he shakes his head, the female shows zero interest. Finally, the persistent male takes the hint. A female iguana will only be receptive to a male's advances on a few days within the breeding season window. To stand any chance of mating, the head-shaking lizards must keep their act up for days on end. Persistence seems to be key. With a female closing in, it could be this male's big chance. But unfortunately for the doting lizard, he is simply in the way. The head shaking must go on. For those without a harem, they must be more opportunistic. Scrambling up a tree, this In contrast, a male with a harem has been taking a more subtle approach. And patience is a virtue. His constant displaying is finally paying off. 2 months after mating, there is a change in the female iguana's behavior. Their appetite has dramatically decreased. The change in eating habits signifies they are close to giving birth. At this time, expectant mothers' abdomens are packed full of eggs. With no space left for food, this female is on the verge of laying. To give birth, she must first descend from the canopy. Once on the forest floor, the mother-to-be needs to find the best spot to lay her precious cargo. A disused animal den, adjacent to a river, is the perfect location. Before laying, the iguana must further excavate the cavity. In total, she lays around 80 eggs. For now, her work is done. The heat from the ground will incubate the developing eggs. June hails the start of Costa Rica's rainy season. It has been 3 months since the iguanas spawned. In contrast to the frantic breeding season, both male and females have become less active during the day. The falling water cools down the lizard's body temperature, sapping them of vital energy. While the rain falls, the eggs continue to develop underground. With their mother giving them the perfect incubation chamber, the developing lizards are ready to hatch. From From the tiny shell emerges a perfectly formed 30-centimeter long iguana. It takes an hour for the newly hatched lizard to free itself from its egg. After a couple of days, the newborn iguana takes its first steps into the outside world. It's not the only one braving the outdoors. All the siblings have surfaced together. It doesn't take long for the newborn iguanas to get used to life in the trees. Once outside their incubation chamber, the young lizards stick together. However, they cannot rest forever. Finding food is a priority. From the get-go, iguanas feast on anything that is soft and green. For the first few months of their lives, the tiny lizards will stay together as a family group. Through day and night. The sibling lizards maintain constant contact. Evolving to become herbivores is believed to be the main reason for the green iguana's success. They can be found throughout the tropical zones of Central and South America, and not just in rainforests. Some iguanas have even taken to a more urban lifestyle. A small town in northern Costa Rica has become a hotspot for the large lizards. Thanks to their ability to feed on a variety of plants, iguanas thrive in the urban environment. And have even become a hit with locals and tourists alike. Plenty of newborns taking their first steps into their urban home. They can be found all over town. Gardens provide the tiny iguanas with plenty of food. Soft flowers are perfect for the little lizards. Wherever there is tasty foliage to be had, green iguanas thrive. It's not just iguanas venturing into the outside world. Newborn basilisks are also taking their first steps. From the get-go, they commence a predatory life. Insects are the growing lizard's main targets. Their lightning-quick reactions allow the hungry basilisks to catch plenty of prey. In contrast to the iguanas, the predatory lizards go it alone and get their meals to themselves. However, the hunting instinct can often lead the young reptiles into danger. Fortunately, this basilisk has already mastered the art of running on water. But the lizard is not out of the woods yet. It is fast becoming an escape artist. Weighing less than an adult, young basilisks are actually better at running on water than their elders. Lighter on their feet, they can even change direction on the fly. This incredible ability helps young basilisks survive a solitary life. Unlike the lone hunters, the newly hatched iguanas are still sticking together. Sprouting grass offers the tiny lizards a fresh feast. However, life at ground level is risky. An adult basilisk has entered the iguana's feeding grounds. Frantic head movements indicate the predator is locking onto a target. straying into the basilisk strike range. Is a fatal mistake. The unfortunate lizard is swallowed whole. A lone iguana stands no chance against a surprise basilisk attack. While the supreme hunter remains in the area, all of the young lizards could face a similar fate. Succumbing to the basilisk seems inevitable. Costa Rica's protected forests provide the iguanas and basilisks with a home unspoiled by man. To survive, the lizards have evolved in very different ways. The basilisks use their fierce predatory instincts to carve out a living, while iguanas thrive on a vegetarian diet. As a result, the two lizards do not compete over food. However, there are many threats from other forest inhabitants. Both have developed unique methods to avoid would-be predators, and even each other. They may clash and live contrasting lifestyles, but the fierce and gentle lizards have both become legends of Costa Rica.